Hello everyone, this is Tom, your host for the Lone Wolf Prepper Lives channel. Anyway, it's March 9th, 2025. I want to do a prepping video today on horses. The importance of horses as a prepping tool, and definitely having horse skills as prepping skills. Anyway, and as a lone wolf, I'd say it's almost necessary to stay ahead of the pack. Always worked good for the Indian warrior. But anyway, I'm out here on Beauty. There she is. Riding a little bit of thicket. But anyway, why are horses an important prep? Well, as a lone wolf prepper, number one, their companionship. One thing about a horse, it's not like a dog. Not even close to the relationship you have with your pooch, okay? Your pooch is completely dependent on you. The mindset's all different. A horse, I would say, mindset has got to be close to a dolphin's. Socially, they're very strong. And one thing about a horse, it's got you figured out long before you got it figured out, okay? And that's just the way it is. They're a very smart animal. You're never going to fool a horse. But it's an important skill to have. Okay, and learning how to ride right is not an easy thing to do. It takes weeks and weeks and a lot of hours in the saddle to get to where you can ride right. And then, I'm a cowboy, and then you add roping into it. But, when you work on a horse, you get it figured out. When I first went out to the ranch, one of the horses I had, the one I liked the best, he knew more about moving cows than I did on a horse when we first started. That's for sure. But anyway, no, they're an important prep for a lone wolf. Okay, I can carry a lot more gear, especially with a pack. If you know how to travel, people say, well, they can track you. Well, you should be able to ride in a way where you know you're not going to be tracked. And sometimes you can't hide it. But if people are chasing you on foot, they ain't got a chance. Anyway, I just find it a necessary prep. Okay, I've always loved horses. They're EMP proof, that's for sure. If an EMP hits and everybody's walking because they got these computerized cars, unless you own something that was made probably 1975 or older, which they don't want those trucks on the road anymore anyway, you're probably going to be walking. So, but, if you have the chance and you have the space and stuff, get a horse. Okay, and when you get a horse, you just can't sit there and feed it hay and not do nothing with it. Especially if you just got one. If you just got one, what should be the best way to start out with? Because then you can bond with them better. You get two, the bonding ain't that great. Because when you get two, you got to enter the horse world. They don't enter yours, okay? When you got one, just one, you kind of come together. And anyway, you come together. But you got two or more, they're not going to break their social structure and start acquiescing to human behavior and stuff, okay? They still stay horses. By the way, then you get that bond with them. Then they start trusting, okay? First thing you gotta need to know about horses, there's nothing equal in the horse herd, okay? When I say you enter the horse's lifestyle, or they thinking like a horse, you gotta, Anyway, so if you don't dominate your horse thinks it dominates you. And that's when you have problems. Now, you don't be abusive to them, but you don't let them get their way. When you first start riding your horse, you're gonna find out its bad habits. And you can't let them do none of them. Whether it's turning around, bucking, whatever the bad habit is, you gotta be able to ride it out. You can never let them have their way, ever. That, they got to submit to you. And then when they do that, then the partnership can come. But they always got to know you're dominant. Then you don't have to chase them around when they're in the pastures. I don't care how big the pasture is. You can just walk up to them, put a halter on them, and get on them bareback and ride them back to the barn and saddle them up. You can fall asleep out in the middle of nowhere, take a 2-hour nap, wake up, and your horse is right there still eating grass. Okay, you do it right. Like I say, and they're just, it's different than a dog. It's like they're more intelligent than dogs. So, I mean, and maybe you talk to them different. I don't know. But my relationship with my horses is not a dependency relationship. It's more of a partnership relationship, where the dogs, that's more of a dependency. You treat your dogs more like you treat your kids. When you're a cowboy, your horse gets treated like it's your partner, because that's what they are. Okay, that horse works just as hard as you do. When I'd be out there riding in the cold and the snow, and we were rounding it up, getting all hot, I was sweating just as bad as the horse. And then when you start walking them, trailing them, and you start getting cold, Ricky had icicles coming off his nose, and believe me, I was just as cold. But that's cowboy's life. But anyway, yeah, if you could have the chance to get horses, I mean, you don't have to buy your own. If you know somebody. And then one thing about some people is kind of picky about who rides their horses. Just like somebody driving your car, you get real picky. But horses is a little bit different, because, in a car, you're not dealing with something that's living and breathing, it's got its own brain. With a horse, you do. And horses can get pretty nuts if they don't want you on. If you're not an experienced rider, well, you can get dumped and hurt. If they fall. Most people get killed on horses from horses falling, not from getting bucked off. Anyway, but, and then the experiences with horses getting the tack. When you get tack, your saddle and your heads, your bridle set up and all that stuff, don't ever buy cheap stuff. Okay? You put cheap stuff on a horse, it's going to have sores really bad. Make sure your cinch is a really good cinch. And you're going to go through cinches. That's one thing, if you ride a lot, I've gone through quite a few cinches. The best ones to get, actually, believe it or not, are the old horse-haired ones. Those are still the best cinches. They leave the less sores and stuff. And one thing is, get saddles, you start getting saddle sores, treat them right away. Always look over your horse when you get done riding, especially where they're cinched down. And then I use Carmex on them. Works great. Works great. And then you need to know how to do your hoof trimming. All the stuff taken care of them. Just like your car, you should know how to be a mechanic, but a lot of people don't. But anyway, that's, when the horse knows that you care about their every need and stuff, you just care about them, they can feel it. Just go into the bathroom. Come on, sweetie. Anyway, yeah, that's my beauty. Beauty. She's a little shy. Anyway, always wanted a black beauty, and I got one. Got her cheap just because she had some bad habits that the people didn't know how to deal with. I got her real cheap, and she's worth, 20 times what I paid for her, especially now. So, but anyway, in horses, like I say, a lone wolf situation, I wouldn't want to do any other way. So, I just feel being mobile is very important. Not that I ain't physically fit and I can't walk and stuff, but why, riding horses is one thing, misconception, people. Oh, you ride all day, I bet your butt gets sore. No. You never see, when you're riding like that, you're not sitting. Like right now I'm walking, so I'm sitting down. But normally you're standing. You always want to be standing. Knees bent, ankles bent, where you can pivot on your hips, your knees, and your ankles. Because if a horse starts bucking, you always want to be able to maintain your boots, bottom of your boots in the stirrups, on the stirrups with weight on your feet. They get you in that negative G where your feet come up. That's when they get you off. So it sounds complicated, but believe me, after you ride a lot, you get on that first bucking horse, you'll be surprised. I mean, it's not that bad. When I first got her, she her big thing was turning around. I rode her for 2.5 weeks, and then she started to have bad habit of wanting to turn around. And for 2 days, whew, they were rough rides. I came back sweating, but she was not allowed to do what she wanted. And then the next day she started bucking a little bit. She stopped. But I tell you what, she's got one hell of a mean buck. But now you could put a little kid on her. She's no problem. You know, she's a mare. She didn't want to be dominated. So, you know, like I say, they'll throw every bad fit. There's a lot to do with horses, but once you get it all accomplished, you know, that's just one prepping skill and one prepping item I think all preppers should have. If you live in a city, okay, obviously it's not impossible. It's impossible. But see, me, okay, when SHTF hits, I got a lot of ground to cover. If I decide if I need to bug out, all right? And it's why, anyway. Not for everybody. I've heard people say it's a waste of time. You know, you can't, it's just gonna slow you down, stuff like that. And I also hear all the time how being a lone wolf is retarded. You'll never succeed. You must go shoot yourself right away. Well, okay, you know, we each have our own way, but I'm learning as many skills as I can. I'm getting everything prepared. Because I tell you what, after that speech the other night in Congress, and these Democrats, they're dangerous. What I mean is, if they ever organize, see, they ain't got a leader now, but if they ever organize, they're crazy. They're willing to die for anything. Look at the hills they want to die on. Transgenders and men in sports and men in women's bathrooms, those are the hills they want to defend. But and then these videos they're making, my God, these people, they're Congress people, and they're losing their minds. That fight one, who's fighting for you or whatever, I mean, are you kidding me? Like I said, I want Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Marjorie Taylor Greene and Tulsi Gabbard in a tag team match with AOC, and then that one from Texas, that one black woman from Texas who talks all big and bad. I don't know, 3rd district, the 30th district or whatever. I love to see a tag team match. Talk all big. I tell you what, these Democrats have lost it. But anyway, we got to keep prepping, because now we don't have to worry really about Russia nuking us anymore. Maybe we're out of that. We got to, you know, Europe wants to sit there and have to worry about that. That's cool. But these communists, and it's all over the world. I made a video once. Are we going to have a civil war all over the world? Yeah, I don't know. Oh, come on, sweetie. But I don't know if we are. But these communists know it's now or never. Okay? And that's what... They ain't afraid to do anything either. And see, the thing is, they're mentally ill. They've been told they were right and they weren't wrong for so many years. And the government catered to them and stuff. And now they're a bunch of whiny children that got to deal with reality, and they're not dealing with it well. I mean, I always wonder why all these Democrats that support all this stuff, they're always so angry too. And they're all on antipsychotics and antidepressants. Well, you're not supposed to accept your lifestyle and think it's great when you don't even think it's great? That's what it boils down to. Anyway, so that's my video on horses. We're going to do a lot more on horses. But here, let me get down once. There she is. She's a good girl. I've had her now for what is it? Going on April next month will be 5 years I've had her. Damn good horse. Like I say, just think about it. You know, there'll be a time where you won't regret it. Anyway, everybody have a great day. I think I'm going to do my bug out bag video tomorrow, so maybe get this channel growing a little bit. Anyway, everybody have a great day. I am out.